I don't have a problem with Westminster tidying up its grievance procedures. My problem has been with the whole of this chaotic scandal which has engulfed Westminster. Now, there are serious complaints, and those I take very seriously indeed. But most of this has been a lot of nonsense. I do not consider a mildly flirtatious remark sexual harassment. And actually, I don't think that the vast majority of the nation do. Everywhere I've gone, people have said, what's going on? Sense of proportionality has just deserted the whole thing. People putting in complaints 15 years later that they may have been lightly touched. It is ridiculous. But, I mean, normally that would just make me laugh. What I worry about is this. We're already, as a society, at a stage where people are dubious about putting their arm round a distressed child because they feel it might be misinterpreted. Are we really going to get to the stage where no man can make a flirtatious comment, can make a light touch, can give a pat of encouragement, can give a touch of comfort, whatever it might be, where human beings feel they have to stand off from each other? If so, that's not some new age of enlightenment, that's a dark age.
OK, Sophie, you can laugh, but that's a view that a lot of people hold, a lot of women hold. I've heard that view by women of all ages in the last 2 weeks. Let me ask you this. What physical, personal compliment could I pay you that wouldn't offend you?
Do you know what? You and me both know the difference between flirting and harassment. And that's the thing. Most men...
But answer my question for a moment.
Because what...
In other words, just as part of the normal day, if I was to say to you now, your hair looks lovely, or I like what you're wearing, would you consider that in this new environment to be offensive?
No, I wouldn't. But it doesn't matter about that, because it's not about me as an individual.
It doesn't matter. I think it does matter.
No, let me talk. Let me explain.
A lot of people are confused now.
Yeah. So let me explain.
Let me just say this. Let me phrase the question correctly. They're not confused about rape or sexual assault or even aggressive.
Oh, they are.
Well, OK. Let's just assume
and that's part of the problem.
Let's assume most people, in my experience, know what rape is and they know what sexual assault is.
But they don't, and that's a huge assumption that you're making, and that is part of this same problem. The thing is,
you don't think people know what rape is?
Like, the only point where people take rape seriously is when we have conversations like this, and suddenly it's taken really seriously. The conviction rate for rape is 6%. Because when we do talk about rape, we still talk about it as something that women have to prevent from happening to themselves. And this is the thing about sexual harassment, that it's not just a touch or a flirt or a text message. It's all of it, all of the time. And when we accept those things at that end of the scale, we make it acceptable to do the stuff at the other end of the scale. And all of these things affect women's confidence.
I get it.
And they all affect women's freedom.
I get it. But I would also say, from my personal experience talking to women in the last 2 weeks, a lot of women don't share the view that a hand on a knee, albeit completely inappropriate perhaps, after a couple of drinks at lunchtime, or a clumsy pass by a married politician, they don't see that as anywhere near the same level of offence as sexual assault, rape and so on. And so I'm mainly asking, really, you know, I think a lot of people think this is a good debate to be having. It's a good time to have it. Things need to move on. But where is the line to be drawn? But
that's the thing. It's not about, like, why do we have to draw lines? We know that...
Because otherwise people don't know where the line is.
But it's not true. Like, men don't harass people who can fire them. They don't harass people who are in positions of authority over them. And that's because very few women are in positions of authority over men. And this is actually about power. And if some women don't want to report, that's fine. Nobody's insisting that they should. Nobody's telling her she has to.
Well, my
point is that women who want to report should be supported, because it's an incredibly brave thing to do.
I just want to answer your question, which is, you know, you can compliment. But if you're employing somebody and every day you're making a comment about their hair and about the way that they dress, and if that woman feels that that is somehow connected to their employment, that's where it starts to become uncomfortable. And so, of course, a one-off compliment or a compliment every day between people where the power balance is equal is not something that people are going to complain about.
OK, let's go to Anne Widdecombe.
Where there's an employment relationship that it can be
in all your time in Parliament, were you ever sexually harassed?
Certainly not. Absolutely not. I mean, I think for the very obvious reason that, you know, nobody would have expected to make very much progress if they'd tried. But honestly, this is not what Westminster is like. I do not recognise the description of a, of a toxic atmosphere at Westminster as the one that for 23 years I observed close up. And I'm really tired of being told, you know, that women are being suppressed when it takes them years to report something, when they could report it on the spot.
But they did report it and it was dismissed.
Most of the time.
Some of these women did report it and it was dismissed.
Sophie, you had a long innings just now. Now, just hang on. What we're actually getting at the moment is reports coming in via third parties where the women don't even want to complain. They haven't taken offence.
Do you wonder why, Anne, when your reaction is like this?
They should have done. It is pathetic. It is pathetic.
No, it's very courageous when people like you will give them that treatment. Actually standing up to your harassers and standing up to people like you who belittle people's experiences, actually it's the bravest thing you can do.
Of course, this doesn't just apply to women. You know, we're talking as if women are the only victims. Men also may have grievances which they want to make known.
According to ONS.
But, oh, Sophie, do let somebody finish, for goodness sake.
I'm just giving you the facts.
Which they want to make known. But what I believe is that there should be proportionality. That is the word that I've been using ever since this nonsense started. There is proportionality. What is serious should always be taken seriously. What is trivial isn't worth wasting the time on.
Okay.
And most of this stuff, where even the women themselves don't want to complain, is trivial.
All right, Anne Widdecombe, thanks very much indeed, except that the reporting of what some people think is trivial has created an environment in which some women have been able to report the more serious offences.
Absolutely. I mean, you were all about taking back control in this country, right? It's what the women are doing.
Well, yes. You have got... I mean, we've had this debate before, but the Prime Minister's a woman, the Home Secretary's a woman, the head of the Met Police is a woman,
well,
the Queen's a woman.
You're talking about individuals here.
The First Minister of Scotland's a woman.
Men outnumber women too.
You say you want to seize power.
No, I'm not saying I want to seize power. I'm saying women are taking back control of the narrative about sexual harassment as being about flirting, when actually it's about power.
Can't we all just get along, Sophie?
I think you and me are doing very well this morning by comparison.
By our standards, we're having quite a civilised conversation.